How's it going? This is Sherrod with Sherrod Sports Immigration. If you're not familiar with our work, we're one of the leading law firms in the country for helping athletes, specifically combat sports and boxing and MMA, get into the country on P1 and O1 visas. Lately, we've been getting a lot more inquiries from mixed martial artists that are interested in fighting for the UFC. We have a great relationship with the Global Mobility Department at the Ultimate Fighting Championships, and we know that they're more likely to sign fighters that have visa stamps and are already ready to go with their work authorization to fight in the United States. That's because it's become more difficult to obtain approvals, and then even after you get the approval, it's harder to get in the country for a couple of reasons. Number one, is that a lot of the consular offices around the world are either closed or the interview appointments available are really down in the future. So you might get your visa approved, go to do your interview and find out that it's in the summertime of 2021, which of course will not make you available for a fight that's coming up next month. The other problem is if you're in a country that's affected by the COVID travel restrictions, such as most of Europe, Brazil, and some other countries, you still can't come into the country if your visa is approved and stamped if you don't have what's called a national interest waiver. Now, to obtain expedited appointments and interest waivers, there's two ways to go about it. And I'm going to talk about those right now for strategic wise of how you can make yourself available to obtain work authorization to fight in the UFC or other promotions. There's two things. Either you have to do what's called consular processing, and that's when you get your visa approved outside of the country, or you can change status, which means that you're already in the United States and you change from one type of visa to the other. And I'm going to talk about that second one actually first, which is change of status. Now, if you're able to come to the United States on a visitor visa, not ESTA waiver. If you come on an ESTA waiver, you won't be able to do this because the ESTA is a waiver of needing a visa, not a visa itself. So if you come on a B1 visa, then you can change your status from that B1 to either a P1 or an O1, which you can fight in the United States with. Now, if you already have your passport stamped with the B1 visa and you're not in a COVID restricted country, then you have no problem coming to the United States on that B1 and then changing status. Now, if you don't already have the B1, but if you're in a COVID restricted country, such as Spain or England, even though you have that B1, you can't just get on an airplane and come to the United States. You either have to obtain a national interest waiver or travel to a country that's not restricted and stay there for 14 days, which of course is most of the time impractical. So if you are in a country that has a travel restriction and you need to travel here on a B1 or any type of visa and need a national interest waiver, there's two ways to get it. One, there are certain organizations such as the UFC and Top Rank Boxing that are included on a special list with the Department of Homeland Security that can ask for waivers and are pretty much approved every time they send an email to the Coronavirus Coordination Cell, which is a special, unique entity within DHS and CPB that can issue waivers that will let you through any consulate in the United States and also will get you expedited interviews. Now, if you happen to know people that are already signed to Top Rank or the UFC and you serve as their corner, you could use that as a way to obtain a waiver to come into the United States and not have to do your own national interest waiver. Now, if you do not have ties to these organizations and athletes that you serve as their corner, then you have to look at other situations as far as getting your own national interest waiver. With this, you would apply as a business traveler, and you basically have to try at every consulate until you get a good response. Because even though if you have a good national interest waiver individual request, it's all the way up to the discretion of the consular officer whether to approve it or not. Some jurisdictions aren't really doing any at all, such as London is notoriously bad right now for giving those exemptions, but Madrid is pretty reasonable when it comes to it. So it's one thing where you have to kind of shop around. So if you already have your visa stamped, then you would do your national interest waiver by emailing typically the consulate, and they'll have a special email just for these waivers. If you do not have a visa already, then it's almost like you might as well try to get a P1 or an O1 visa anyway, because you'll have to still get an interview to pick it up, unless you're in Canada. And then what you'd have to do is go through the process of either applying for a B1 visa or getting an application approved for a P1 or O1, and then going to set an appointment. Once you set that appointment, then you'll get an opportunity to request an expedite. And that's in a different portal than what you would do for a national interest waiver. And when you do that expedite, you can present your argument for a national interest waiver at your interview itself, and then come to the United States with your passport stamped with your visa, and also your national interest exception, which allows you to get through the airport even though you're in a COVID restricted country. So that's the basics of it. It's just the hard part is getting interviews. If you don't have a visa already, do not come on ESTA. If you want to fight in the United States, you have to come on a B1 visitor visa and then change to a P1 or O1, or just wait to get a P1 or O1, expedite the interview, and then request a national interest exemption to come into the United States with the proper work authorization to fight, which makes you, of course, more attractive to immediate opportunities with the best promotions in the United States that you can do to compete. So if you have any questions about how to obtain the B1 visa to come here and change status, or wait and try to consular process your P1 or O1 to compete as a mixed martial artist or a boxer in the United States, we truly think that there's no better place to go but to give us a call. We've had a lot of success in both sports, boxing and mixed martial arts. A lot of our current clients are competing for championships. So give us a call or visit our website and shoot us an email. Thank you very much.